The most technologically advanced empire in human history prays a god that doesn't exist. Or does it? Underneath the surface of Mars, buried in Noctis labyrinth, something sleeps. Something that was ancient when the stars themselves were young. The Adeptus Mechanicus call it the machine god. They build shrines to it. They shine into binary. Every weapon the Imperium has ever fired passes through the hands of people who worship something they do not understand. And the Emperor of Mankind put it there. On purpose. He fought it, on Terra in an age of iron. When he could not kill it, he caged it beneath the red planet and let an entire religion grow over his prison. What lies beneath Mars may be a Catan, a star god, one of the oldest beings in existence, and every tech priest who has ever bowed before an altar of circuits and gears has been unknowingly undressed into it. First you need to understand what the Emperor fought. He was the most powerful human psychic to ever exist, a being who could bend the fabric of reality, and in the 1st or 2nd century of the 2nd millennium, what would you call the late Roman era, he fought the Void Dragon on Terra. The memories come from the Guardians of the Dragon, individuals who have touched the imprisoned entity in mind and survived. Their accounts are fragmented, possibly corrupted, but they paint a picture that has haunted the Mechanicum innermost circle since the heresy. So yeah, the Emperor, the most powerful human in history, a warrior in golden armor, fought the dragon, half-crawling beast with a talons like Saint blade, scales like liquid mercury, a tail 20 meters long, a malignant fire in his eyes, and the lights that devour stars burning in his breast. He found the weak spot beneath his left wing, he drove his blade into it, and he could not destroy it. The Catan cannot be killed. They are fundamentally forces of reality, energy given form. You cannot kill a constant of the universe, you cannot stop gravity, so the Emperor did something else. He bound it. He wrapped his banner around the helpless dragon and he took it. And the story of the St. George and the dragon, one of the most human oldest legend, is the echo of a war between a star god and the master of mankind. But to understand what he caged, you need to understand what the Catan actually are. And that story starts 60 million years earlier. Before the Imperium, before the Eldra, before humanity existed at all, the Catan were already ancient. Being of pure energy, physical constants of the universe given awareness. They fed on stars, drifting through the void with no minds, no ambition, no purpose beyond consumption. They existed before life, before soul, before the world had any meaning. Then the Necron found them. The Necron were a doomed species, short-lived, bitter, born on a world so hostile that the entire culture was shaped by death. They discovered the Catan feeding on their sun and gave them physical bodies of living metal. They made a pact. The Catan would grant them immortality, the Necron would become weapons. The Catan turned them into the Necrons, soulless machine of war, stripped of everything that made them living. The Necron traded their soul for eternal service, and the being who oversaw this transformation, who held domination over the very code that made reality function, over technology itself, was, you guessed it, the Void Dragon. The war in heaven followed. The Old Ones were the enemy. The Catan and their Necron armies waged war that lasted 60 million years. World burns, species were engineered as biological weapons. The Orcs and the Eldar were born in this conflict. The warp itself was churned into a nightmare dimension by a sheer scale of the suffering. The warp storms, the birth of the first chaos entities, all of it traces back to this war. And the Catan eventually turned on each other. The deceiver manipulated others into shattering their own kinds, consuming the fragments. Catan shards, broken pieces of star gods, became weapons. The Necrons themselves turned on their master and shattered the Catan into thousands of fragments. But the Void Dragon, where the wall was shattered, endured. He survived the war in heaven. He survived the Necron rebellion. He survived the great sleep that followed. If you're still here, you're one of the people who wants the truth, not the version the Imperium tells. Subscribe for the stories they bear. So why Mars? Because the Emperor was playing a game 60,000 years long. He needed a civilization of Mars that could build technology in his great crusade would require. He needed shipyards, forge worlds, a priesthood of technology that would serve his vision of a unified human galaxy. And he needed them to be good at it, unnaturally good. And he used the Void Dragon to create one. The dragon's influence seeped through the Noctis labyrinth into the planet above it. The entity that held dominion over technology itself, over the very code of the material universe, was leaking its essence into the minds of the people of Mars. They started to dream over machines. They started to understand technology in ways that defied explanation. They built things that should not have been possible to build, and they started to worship. The machine god, the Omnissiah, the motive force, the trinity of the mechanical phase was born from a psychic residue of a star god buried beneath their feet. The Adeptus Mechanicus, the most powerful technological organization in the Imperium, was seated by the Emperor using a katana as his unconscious architect. He knew this, he planned this. He placed the dragon on Mars specifically to accelerate humanity's technological progress through the subconscious influence of the most technological powerful being in existence. And then, when the time was right, when the Mechanicum was strong enough to serve his purpose, he walked in and told them he was their god. He claimed the title of the Omnissiah. He aligned the priesthood of Mars with his great crusade, and every tech priest who has ever chanted the litany of the machine has been unknowingly addressing a Catan. And yeah, the dragon has watchers, a line of individuals known as the Guardians of the Dragon, each one chosen, each one bearing the memories of the entity they watch over. For example, one guardian, he saw the dragon's memories, the battle with the Emperor, the binding, and the long imprisonment beneath the Red Planet. But here is the question that should terrify you. The guardian's memories are the dragon's memories, a Catan, a being of pure energy that predates the concept of deception. He's the source. Every memory, every detail, every account of the Emperor's victory comes through the filter of a being that has been imprisoned for 60,000 years. Those are his memories, so can you trust the memories of a god you have caged? Or has the dragon been shaping the story of the entire time? Has he been feeding the guardians exactly what he wants them to believe? Has the entire narrative of the Emperor's freedom been created by the prisoner itself? The truth on Mars is not as stable as the Imperium would like to believe. The dragon may be sleeping, or may simply be patient. A Necron fleet, an actual Necron armada, once made a direct desperate attempt to reach Mars. They broke through the Imperial naval blockades. They fought through the orbital defenses of the most fortified planet in the Imperium after Terra itself, and they were destroyed. But the question remains, what were they trying to do? Were they trying to free the Void Dragon? But also something worse happened. A Catan shard of the Void Dragon, not the one on Mars but another fragment of the same being, escaped his imprisonment within the Necron dynasty. It ravaged Necron territory in a mindless rampage of destruction. The Necrons, who had mastered the Catan, who had shattered them into weapons, who had built containment systems over millions of years, could not contain it in a single shard. And that is how powerful one piece of the Void Dragon is, and the Imperium has the largest node piece built under its most important planet. So, was the Emperor right? He used a katana as an engine. He let an entire religion form around a cage. He lied to the Mechanicum for 10,000 years, and he's still lying, because he sits on the golden throne and he cannot speak. The tech priest of Mars prayed to a being that would devour them if he could. The Imperium's greatest technological achievements were seeded by one of his greatest enemies. The machine god might be real, and the Void Dragon might not be sleeping forever. And the only thing standing between them and annihilation is a labyrinth and a lock that has already held longer than any human civilization was meant to survive. This is not a story about fate. This is a story about a system that took its most dangerous prisoner in the galaxy and built a religion around his cage. A system that let 10,000 years of worship grow over a lock that might not hold. The Emperor imprisoned a god and built a civilization from his suffering. The Mechanicum prays to a cage without knowing it. Was the Emperor's lie justified, or did he trade humanity's soul for his survival? Tell me what you think in the comment, and as always, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.